Fun fact 103. Now, I know in a recent post, in my Here Now, my last Here Now, I talked about a little bit about the dating thing. And the last person that I was actually talking to, which was the Tony, which was not the Chinese Tony or Antonio or Anthony, the Tony that I met at the bar, it was a different Tony on a different dating app. And my friends were like, oh, you need to try another dating app, another dating app. And fun fact 103 is I give up. I'm still looking at the dating apps. I'm still checking into people who like me, but two of the apps that I'm on right now, I have to pay to see who likes me, and I can't do that. But if we mutually like, then we can talk. It's weird. I don't like it. But I'm still kind of looking, and I usually am not liking anybody. I'm trying to be a little bit more specific in what I like and what I don't like. I do read the descriptions. I read everything that they write down because I think sometimes I've made mistakes where I thought I read everything and I got them down, and then they're like, "Oh, I just like to golf all day, honey," and I'm like, "Yeah, no, that doesn't work." So, so I'm trying to be more specific. I'm kind of leaving it open, but after the last one, when I said, give me some space. I need some space to think about this because you're really sure that I'm the one, but I'm not sure you're the one. And I really I can't just go along with you because your feelings are so strong that I can't just go along with you and say, yeah, this is it. And so, um, yeah, I needed some time to figure out what my feelings are and how I felt about everything. And I kept telling him to slow down, that he was going a little too fast, and that we needed to talk some more. But when I said, we had said that I said I think we should leave our options open. I actually want to date multiple people. I keep dating one person and then getting locked in and then realizing it's not right. I want to date multiple people, so I have something to compare and something to look at and kind of make up my own mind in my own time how I feel instead of just kind of going along with somebody telling me how wonderful I am and amazing and blah 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 blah. And I'm thinking that's so nice, I really need that, but I also need somebody who truly sees me and isn't making up a version of me in their head that doesn't exist. And so, for somebody who just wants somebody, if I feel connected to somebody, then that means something. But sometimes I feel like I'm being pushed into saying yes when I'm really not sure. And so I need time to figure it out for myself, and that I'm not just going along with somebody else's feelings, but I'm actually feeling something myself. And I just needed some time to think about it and really separate me from him and kind of see where I'm at and how I feel about things. And I just said, I'm just not ready to meet in person, honestly, because, um, well, I don't know him well enough to let him know where I live. Um, I don't know him well enough to invite him to where I live is where my daughter is. I just didn't feel comfortable with that. And most people, it's like they'll say, let's meet at a public space that's neither your place nor my place or my town or your town, somewhere in the middle. And we find a place and we go to lunch. And not like I've done a lot of any of this. I have to admit, the one Tony that didn't speak English, um, he came to my house. But it was different. It was a different feeling. Now that I'm in the new place, it's like I want to be safe. And I'm not willing to just invite people in. And I've talked to my daughter about it, and there's a handful of people that we don't mind knowing where we live and coming over. And we've had 2 people over so far that we feel that way about. The other people are really busy right now. But there's like 3 other people. There's like 5 people right now that if they wanted to come, it's fine. But somebody I just met online and I'm just texting and maybe had a few phone calls with, I'm not comfortable with, especially when he's pushing, making things happen. So I just told him, hey, I need to slow down a little bit. I just realized I'm not ready for that. And I've got a lot on my plate and I need to focus on that. But I also need to figure out how I feel. And and we had discussed, I'm not going to be the only one. He's not going to be the only one. But he kept saying he wants me to be the only one. And I said, well, I would like you to date other people. And so you can be sure that this is what you want, And, but we had talked about that before. And then when I was saying, hey, I need to kind of slow down a little bit, and he kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And it's like paragraphs of text and everything. And then, and he's like, well, I am dating other people. So it's not like you're my only option. And it's not like I'm desperate or anything. And he had said something really nice before that said, hey, I understand you need space. Let me give it to you. You need some time to think. You don't have to be in the same place as me. I understand that. Take your time. And then the next thing was, well, it is not like I'm desperate. And I'm like, oh, wow. That was icky. The way you said it. I mean, you didn't need to say it. We already discussed that we were being willing to see other people. But you got like insecure weird on me. And yeah, I didn't appreciate that. And that made me back off a lot. And there were other little things like that. Like he'd be saying really great things, and all of a sudden he'd say something like "Eek," sideways. And I'm like, why did he even bother saying that? And so I started thinking about it, and he said he'd give me space, and then he wrote like texts. And another guy that I had met in person, but we haven't seen, it was kind of an incidental kind of thing. And we were talking on the phone a little bit and texting. And then we were doing a video chat and talking. And then in the middle of the conversation, he goes down to his penis and shows me his penis. And I'm like, and that wasn't even a dating app. That was like, what is wrong with people? And so it took some time, but he like wrote one guy, another Tony, texts, and he wrote, then it was like one line, like, and I told him I'm going to be really busy, I might be able to respond, and I just need some space. So he gave me some space. So he said he was going to give me some space to think, but it was like, well, this is how I imagine our lives and thinking about us and think about how we'll be together. And these are the next 5 years that I can imagine of how things would go. And this is how it would start and this whole story. And then it was like the next day, I didn't respond. And then the next day was, how are your cats? And the next day was, how's your daughter? And then there were phone calls. And I was just like, can you not? And then one day, it was just peace. After 2 phone calls, the next day, nothing. And I got so much done. I was able to think a little bit. And I really went, this was a good day. But in the back of my mind is he going to text? Is he going to call? Am I going to have to deal with this? And then finally I wrote to him after a bit of time, and I said, hey, I just don't think we're in the same place. I'm feeling the same thing, and I don't want you to waste your time. So I'm just thinking that, you need to look someplace else. Because I don't think this is for me. It doesn't feel right to me, and I just don't think it's for me. And then he wrote me back and said, I won't contact you anymore. You contact me. But that's what he said before after he wrote me. And but I still believe in us. And I think we're gonna be together someday. And I'm like, well, you keep believing that, honey. But I don't think so. And I was just like, so that point with a lot of the stuff that was coming through and coming down, and I was like, um, dating apps, I don't want to do them anymore. I give up. I give up. I give up that there's anybody out there for me. But then I saw Tony and Chris Thursday night, and I was like, what? Maybe one of them. But still, nothing happened. Nothing's probably gonna happen. I don't see that this is ever going to work for me, but the dating apps, definitely. I don't, I don't see how I'm going to meet anybody that way if that's going to be somebody good for me. But like I said, this was called Fun Fact 103, online dating. Give up. That's what it's called. But honestly, I do look, but basically it's like I get a notification that there's suggested people for me, and I look and I mostly go, nah, no. Or somebody will like me in an app that I can see and not have to pay to see who likes me. And I'll look and I'll go. I'd say 99% of the time I'm like, nope, 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 nope. Every once in a blue moon, I see somebody and I'm like, maybe this could have possibilities. And I'll say yes. But before I was like, oh, look, he has a puppy. Yes. He has to be a good guy. He has a puppy. He's by the ocean. Oh, but see, now I'm going like, okay, he's 31. He's very handsome. Um, the Chinese girl isn't at the bottom. The Asian girl isn't at the bottom. So he's not a scammer, maybe. And, oh, look, he's spiritual. But he's 31 and he lives in Nevada. So being a little bit more particular, and actually a lot more particular, because I really need to see that there's more than a possibility. And basically, I'm not sure if there's any possibilities ever. So, 103. Online dating. I give up. And don't set me up with your brother or your ex-husband or uh, your son or blah. Yeah. Mhm. I need somebody who's going to be present in my life, and yeah, I don't know if anybody can be. So, um, and watch a week or two from now, I meet somebody, I fall in love, not online probably, and we have this whirlwind love affair, and we live together the rest of our lives, and we're so happy. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. Love you all. Ciao, Bella.